Does it feel like anything is over? RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the January 25th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. It never stops. And that's the good news, right? That's the great part about coming on. Playing time is over. We're going to watch the Super Bowl and the NFC and AFC championship games without any emotional commitment. We're not going to be throwing anything around. I'm not anti-Chief. I'm not anti-Bill. I'm not really pro-Taxkin, and I'm kind of anti-Eagle. But either way, it's not the end of the world, whatever happens from here on out. What's going to be interesting that happens from here on out is from January 25th to mid-March when the new season begins, draft season, free agent season, and seeing how it plays out with guys like Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford for the Rams. And that was where I wanted to begin today was if Matthew Stafford wants to play next year at his age, considering his mileage, name a better place than SoFi with the Rams for Matthew Stafford to play. Let's run through the NFL real quick. He's not going to go to an NFC West team. Seattle, Frisco, Arizona, nope. Seattle's got a delusion about Geno Smith, and Frisco's ready to pay, the kid. And then you've got Arizona. They're still paying Murray, right? So Purdy, Murray, Smith, they're all locked up. NFC North, no, they've all got their quarterbacks. The Vikings, Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay, they're all lined up with their quarterbacks. NFC South, Tampa Bay's got their quarterback. Atlanta's got theirs. Carolina's got theirs. Would Matthew Stafford really want to go into a price war and outbid himself or whatever it is to go to New Orleans? I mean, what's in New Orleans? Can anything good come out of New Orleans? NFC East, Eagles, nope. Taxkins, nope. Cowboys just gave 61 plus rocks to Dak Prescott, nope. Giants, they need a quarterback, but is that where Matthew Stafford wants to finish his career? Making a big ton of money with a lousy team? AFC East, Patriots, nope. Jets, nope. Dolphins, in spite of what Nick Wright says, nope. And Bills, nope. NFC or AFC North, Bengals, nope. Ravens, nope. Browns, that's where Matthew Stafford wants to go? I don't think so. Steelers, it's the Steelers organization. There's some stability there. But at this point, nope. Titans, Colts, Jags, Texans in the AFC South. Titans need a quarterback, but is that where Matthew Stafford wants to go? And that leaves us with the AFC West. Broncos got their guy. Chiefs, I think they've got their guy. Chargers have got their guy. Raiders, well, they got Pete Carroll. They got John Spytek, but that's all they got. And I don't think Stafford would want to go there. There are no good options for Stafford if he wants to play for a title. And that's all that's left for him to play for at this point. You know, he's got all the statistical achievements. Right now, he's earned close to 365 rocks in his career. With that said, pay him what he wants. Pay him what he wants because he's worth it. If the Rams have to pay him 60 rocks and break it all up there to get it to him for 2 years, I'm doing it. And there's no place else for him to go. Our only hope would be that after making 365 rocks, that Stafford would not, I don't want him to take a pay cut or anything like that, but that he would sign a deal that's not only beneficial to him, but beneficial to the club, because the only reason you're still playing at age 37 is to win a title, right? So I think it's going to work out because there's just no place for him to go. Speaking of Ram contracts, according to Sean McVay, the Rams are interested in extending Kyren Williams' contract before 2025. And that could be an increase because he's on his rookie deal, which is almost nothing, to between 5 and 8 rocks a season. I'm not against it. I like Kyren Williams, but I don't think it's a have to at this moment. I just don't. I would want to see one more season out of him. And again, that second contract to running backs. Not everyone's Derrick Henry, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like 3 years, 24 rocks, $8 million a year. Get it done ahead of time. Maybe he's open to that. But I'm not against Kyren Williams. I just didn't think I'd want to pay that right now. But anyway, the Rams do have some dough, 46 to 49 rocks in salary cap availability. Tyler Higbee, he's got another year. He's making 9.6 next year. It's not a lot. And he's got a 6 rock dead cap hit. So Tyler Higbee's coming back. And unless he decides physically he has to retire, he's coming back. Cooper Kupp is the interesting one that everyone's talking about. Cooper Kupp still has 2 years left on his contract. He's scheduled to make 29.7 next year, 27.3 in 2026. Can you see Cooper Kupp on the field for the Rams in 2 years? It's difficult to project next year. But here's the problem. If he is gone next year, he has a dead cap hit of $22.2 million. If he plays next year and then the Rams move on from him in 2026, he's 7.4 against the dead. Kupp was drafted in 2017, extended to 3 years, $47 million in September of 2020, and then immediately was extended, I think after the 21 season, 3 years, 78 to 80 rocks through 2026. He restructured a couple years ago, pushed money forward, and that's where we are. We're in that forward space now, and that's why his situation is tricky. I don't know if I want to pay 22.2 in dead money next year to see him find life with a rival. And I'd find a way to make it work, right? It's already baked in. He's already making the dough. I'd find a way to make it work one more year if he's willing to do it. But it's clear he has lost a step. All right, we did that part. I got a couple more Ram points here I want to make. I'm probably going to keep this show between 30 and 40 minutes today. Got some stuff to take care of. I do appreciate Brian Smith being there. Tim Burns, Tommy Huxley, Steve Ramirez. Awesome. All right. Brian Smith says, pay Brock Purdy. This is a beautiful thing right now, is because there's no mystery to Brock Purdy for Ram fans. Okay. So we've got that part figured out. We know who Brock Purdy is. Brock Purdy is not anything that's going to scare the Rams. I don't think Brock Purdy's a bad quarterback. I think they lost that Super Bowl last year to the Chiefs because of Kyle Shanahan, not Brock Purdy. In fact, I say Purdy put him in a position to win that game. And Shanahan swallowed the jalapeno, not Brock Purdy. With that said, it would be marvelous if they gave him a big fat contract and hamstrung themselves, right, for a few more years with salary cap issues. And then the flip side of it is we don't want to play Brock Purdy. We're going to bring in another quarterback. The last time they specifically made a move to bring in a quarterback, it was Trey Lance. The time before that, it was Jimmy G. Good, efficient, but right in that Brock Purdy level. And so that's going to minimize what the 49ers are going to do going forward. They're paying too much to Brandon Ayuk, right? George Kittle's getting old. They got to replace Trent Williams at left tackle sooner or later. And they've got age all along that team. And so, yeah, I'm all for it. Pay Brock Purdy. Pay him. Good point, Brian Smith. I'm glad you brought it up. Tim Burns. We keep our number 3 receiver. Robinson was super solid. I like how he picked up slack early. He has more to give. I don't know. I don't dislike Demarcus Robinson, but, he wasn't really making plays when Kupp and Nakua were out. He was kind of quiet that first month of the season, and as they came back in, he became a better option. I'm not going to hurt if he moves on. I'm not going to be upset if he comes back. So there we go. Brian Smith, Alaric is going to eat up the cap. Kupp is most likely gone. But there's the issue, though. You push Kupp out the door, you got 22 and dead. Who's going to trade for Cooper Kupp? Who? We'd almost have to give a third-round pick to somebody to take Kupp and a third-round pick just to get rid of his salary cap. I don't see a market for Cooper Kupp right now with a whole new batch of receivers. That's the one thing we get every year in the draft. We get receivers. And I think he's just a kind of a, as Pete Venkman once said, kind of a pricey fixer-upper opportunity there. And Alaric, that's one we're going to talk about here in a second. Let's see. Tommy Huxley, how is the couch? I'm going to help me with that one, Tommy Huxley. Help me with that one. Tim Burns, pay Kyron before he adds 13 TDs to his total. We have to pay 12 rocks a year. That's true. That's true. Is he a second contract guy? We'll see. I like him. Steve Ramirez, pay Stafford and trade for or sign a speedy receiver. Probably still have to keep Kupp. I think his contract dictates it, and his level of play makes it a conclusion. Again, I will say this, though. Every time we think we've got the salary cap wired, every time we think he's got it wired, what does usually happen? We've got it wired. The Rams usually find a way to circumvent the salary cap, right? I think the Dodgers, to get around the luxury tax in baseball or whatever, must have hung out with Rams and Les Snead in his financial office, because they always find a way to get around the salary cap. Let's see here. Tim Burns, Huxley. Okay, Tim Burns, 49ers over the last 2 decades prove it's a system. Jimmy G, the racist quarterback, Alex Smith, show it's the system. Okay. And again, you can only go so far. How do I say this? I think Brock Purdy's better than Jimmy G. There, I said it. Cap never got better. Alex Smith had a cap too. They just don't have a great quarterback. But here's the thing. Let's just say you decide not to re-sign or extend Brock Purdy. You still got him for another year. But what if you move on? Your window's definitely closed, because now you got to break in a new quarterback. They're in a rock and a hard place spot here, because they gave their money, like they always do, the 49ers, to the wrong people. Let's see. Brian Smith, Huxley's team warmed up Cancun for the Rams. Okay. All right. Let's see. Tommy Huxley, Barkley is Smith's daddy. Okay. Karen Williams has a fumbling issue. He does. Tommy Huxley, 500 yards in 2 games versus the Rams. Ouch. Okay. Huxley's taking it to us. Tim Burns, Rams have to take care of Kupp, but I think he will renegotiate. If he renegotiates, good. If he renegotiates, great. That's even better. He's done that before. We'll see. Brian, let's see. Brian Smith, Tommy Huxley is a bottom boy for sure. Oh, geez, you guys. Tommy Huxley, Brian, you wish I was okay. Sorry, buddy. Okay, great. Let's move on here. Let's get to the next level that we got. Thanks, guys, for clicking on. Okay, on the defensive side, for me, the guy I really want to keep an eye on, because we're going to see how it plays out in the free agency period, and then we're going to see it play out in the draft, is Emmanuel Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes is a wild card here. Rams got him off waivers from the Taxkins. He was a bust this first year and a half of his career in Washington. And by bringing him on, the Rams are on the hook for the remainder of his rookie first-round contract, which means next year Rams have to pay him $2.1 million. That's part of his rookie contract. If they release him, they owe him 5 rocks. Next year in 2026, he's owed 2.8 with a debt of 2.8. So the Rams made a commitment. Oh, by the way, they have the option for 2027 if he sticks around. They made a commitment to Emmanuel Forbes. And I'm curious, would they have done that if they didn't believe his career could be turned around? Could he be the cornerback we're looking for? Because Rams need a corner. We need a younger corner. No matter what we got out of Durant, who's going into his last year of his contract, no matter what we got out of Darius Williams, who's in his 30s and in the last year of his contract, and no matter what we got out of Akilla Witherspoon, who is another year older and a free agent. So the Rams need a frontline corner. But I think Emmanuel Forbes, if they believe in him, which by signing him, by taking him on waivers, I think they do, that might preclude them from taking a corner in the first round. They might save it someplace down the road, third round, fourth, or someplace in there. So it's interesting to see how that one plays out. They must have some belief in him. And if he could be that guy, what a steal. What a steal it would be for the team. Offensive line, looking at the offensive line, I love to repeat it. Left tackle, Eric Jackson. Left guard, Steve Avila. Center right now, Bo Limmer. Right guard, Kevin Dotson. Right tackle, Rob Havenstein. McVay said in his press conference that he's going to have a talk with Havenstein. Havenstein still played at a high level. Havenstein graded out, according to PFF, take it for what it's worth, 22 out of 81 tackles in the league. Things just weren't right on that offensive line when Havenstein wasn't in there. I think he's the spiritual leader of that offensive line. He's owed 11.3 next year. He has a dead cap hit of 8.9. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see. But definitely Havenstein, I think, would come back. Unless he's got something where he's just going to walk away. I think Havenstein's coming back next year. Alaric Jackson, as I think was Brian Smith brought up there. Now, that's the one that's going to be really interesting. So his first 3 years, Rams got him at a UDFA, right? Undrafted free agent. They developed him. They have a left tackle the last 2 years that was good enough for them to win 10 games and advance in the playoffs. And let's remember, the Rams weren't too far from advancing in the playoffs last year against Detroit. We weren't too far from advancing in the playoffs to the NFC Championship game with a UDFA, an undrafted free agent. They gave him a deal last year for 4.8. He's a free agent this year coming up. He's only made his first 3 years a combined, $2 million. He made $4 million this year, and now he's a free agent. So what's his market value? Well, he would have been draft class of 2021. I look for someone comparable to him at left tackle that has played the last few years and next to him in grading and everything. And, the guy nearest him was Christian Darrisaw. Christian Darrisaw, the Viking left tackle who blew out his knee against the Rams on that Thursday night. Just prior to 2024, Darrisaw signed a 4-year, 104 rock contract, 67 guaranteed. That's something to think about. Are the Rams willing to go? He's your left tackle. Your right tackle is Havenstein money, 12 to 14 mil. Your left tackle, probably in this market now, am I fair to say, and I'll take correction, guys, 15 to 20 rocks? He's not Christian Darrisaw, because Darrisaw, I think, next year is scheduled to make about 25 rocks, but he is an upper level left tackle, and that's going to be a big one there. And if you let him walk, you get a compensatory pick. Awesome sauce. Great. But now you're back in the game of, we got to draft somebody, develop somebody, and make sure they're ready to play. And there's always that learning curve. For a few of them, they come in and they knock it out of the park. But for most of them, there's that learning curve. And if, as a Ram fan, if you'll excuse me, I've got a little PTSD when it comes to Jason Smith, Alex Barron, and Greg Robinson, right? And so I got a little PTSD when it comes to left tackles. It's kind of like, I like what I got in Alaric Jackson. I hope we can find a way. He's young. He's only made 6 rocks in his career. He's going to be 27. It's time for him to get his dough. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to give the Rams a good guy deal. All right. Based on Wednesday's discussion, and that came up, I think, with Bill, is Bo Limmer, has he topped out? Is this the ceiling of Bo Limmer? Is he going to go to the next level? Because the Rams having to make a decision here. Is he the guy, or do they dip back into the market? You got the Jonah Jackson issue right now. I did, for fun, just look to see Coleman Shelton with the Bears had a pretty decent year with the Bears, grade-wise, very middle of the road. Coleman Shelton's a free agent this March. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But Jonah Jackson's the interesting one. This coming year, he's scheduled to make 14.6. His dead cap hit is 11.3. If they release him post June 1st, it's 5.6 this year and 5.6 next year. If he sticks around in 2026, He's $22.6 million against the cap, and his dead would be 5.6. So there's going to be a reckoning here. Something's going to happen because either he's got to take the starting center job, or he's got to displace Steve Avila, or he's got to go bye-bye, right? I could see him being designated a post June 1st. Even he might want it. I don't know. It's going to be, yeah, it's a tough situation. Dylan McMahon is the guy who started against the Seahawks in week 18. He's the only other actual center on the roster. And he was drafted in the 6th round, 191 overall by the Eagles this past year out of NC State. But he's got size issues, arm length issues. He's got some quickness, but he plays at around 300 pounds. It's a bit light these days for your center. I think his original draft status was 299. I think the Rams got him at 305 right now, weight-wise. But so there's an issue there. There's a real issue there. And so Alaric Jackson's a big one. And then what are the Rams going to do at center? Are they willing to dance with Bo Limmer? Now, I'm okay with that because I like continuity. I want as much continuity as possible. A little more continuity between Limmer and Kevin Dotson might have kept Jalen Carter out of the backfield on 3rd and 2 from the Philly 13 in the final minutes of the divisional playoff game. A little more continuity, a little more familiarity on who's on my hip. Just saying there, right? Just saying. All right, let's keep on rocking here. I think you guys all got your bad feelings out towards each other. Brian Smith, Huxley trolls Seahawks and Niners boards too. Tommy Huxley, but in all honesty, the Rams defensive line is outstanding. Props. Cheers, Joe. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think the Rams anymore, as we talked on Wednesday, the Rams don't have to go, oh, that's a great offensive line. We can't do anything against them. No, the Rams have a great front seven. I don't think they have to take a step back even to the Philly offensive line or the Detroit offensive line, that there should be expectation on to play well against them. Tim Burns, my dog spilled for the second time soda on my copy of Sin Virus. Going to have to get another one. My question is, do you have an agreement with the dog to boost sales? The book in question, Sin Virus, thank you, Mr. Burns. I should put you on the payroll, is available on Amazon. It looks long. It's not that long. Think Walking Dead meets Christianity. It got good reviews. I could use a few more sales. I appreciate it, Mr. Burns. Thank you for mentioning this. You got to tell me if you like the book, Mr. Burns, though. You got to tell everybody if you like the book. Tommy Huxley. I like Kitchens, too. Spoon played really well this season. He is great at man-to-man, gets lost in zone sometimes. Kitchens is interesting. After the benching, was it the benching he had against the Packers? He really came back and was a different player, right? So Kitchens really did show. Good call there. And Spoon is the enigma. Witherspoon's the enigma. Played well for the Rams last season. Faded down the stretch. Started the whole season for the Rams. Faded down the stretch. Then he becomes a free agent. Nobody signs him. Nobody. Rams go get Trey White before they bring back Killer Witherspoon. And then they bring back Akilla Witherspoon after the season's begun. But it's interesting enough, no other team took a flyer on Akilla Witherspoon. And he played great for the Rams. And again, I don't know if he's an 18-week, 17-game starter in the NFL, but if you can monitor his snaps, you could probably get some great clicks out of him. And he's an interesting one in terms of coming back. Let's see. Tommy Huxley, not good, Tim. Laugh out loud. Tim Burns, Kitchens is a hawk and will only get better. I agree. Is he going to be so good we don't have to re-sign Quentin Lake? Just saying. Tommy Huxley, Rams outplayed the Eagles. It was just the turnovers and run that did you in. Yeah, Rundy that did you in. Yeah. And they had a shot, right? They had a shot. Gilbert Gonzalez. Hopefully Matthew signs $45 million a year for 2 years with a third at a team control. Cup at 2 years for $35 million would be great. Get it done. Yeah, it's up to Cup, right? I think that's really going to be up to Cup. I will not, and I'm going to say this right here. I don't know how they're going to pay for it, but if we found out the Rams guaranteed $130 million to Matthew Stafford for the next 2 years, meaning he's getting 65 rocks a year, you're not going to hear a complaint from me. You're just not. You're not going to hear a complaint from me. I don't care what they give Stafford, as long as he's happy and it's a little functionality for the salary cap guys. Tim Burns, I know awards aren't your thing, Joe T, but Josh Allen has no business being MVP. Lamar had 39 I think it was 49. Was it 39 TDs and 4 interceptions, which is better than all his MVP seasons. Saquon is a close second. And I really don't. Like I think I told you in a text, I'll take Josh Allen 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. I know you're going to think this is crazy. But Lamar, as great a quarterback as he is, he's not in Josh Allen's category. So you can give him the award. He's not in Mahomes' category. He's beautiful. He's a great guy. I love how he's worked and got better. I am not anti-Lamar. I'm anti the KBM, not, they're always saying it's somebody else's fault. But, I'm going down the stretch. I want Matthew Stafford throwing that ball through the snow. I don't want Lamar. Anyway, there you go. Brian Smith, I'm concerned that if Alaric gets paid, he'll lay down. Brian, that was a question that came up, and I was working through that because I actually thought that could be a question, and it was a question to myself. This guy's an undrafted free agent out of Iowa. It's one thing for an undrafted free agent to become an NFL player. It's another thing for an undrafted free agent to become an NFL starter. And it's another thing for an undrafted free agent to become a successful NFL starter. And that's what Alaric Jackson is. I think it's his work ethic that has gotten him to this point. He already had, now I don't know what he was suspended for 2 games to start the season, but to get through the Rams front door, that's why George Pickens from the Steelers will never be a Ram. You have to have character, a high character quotient there if you're going to play for the Rams. That's just, you can see that in the way the Rams do business. So to get through the door as an undrafted free agent, Alaric Jackson had the chops. He had the work ethic to get himself into this position. So maybe it's because I saw Greg Robinson play for so long and Alex Barron play. Jason Smith didn't last too long. I don't think that's going to be an issue, but it is a good question. No one wants anybody to lay down. Yeah, and I get that. I totally get that. Let's see. Alaric 2-game suspension earlier is concerning. I wish I knew what it was. I really do, Brian. I do. Michael Negretti, hola, Pastor Joe. When I didn't see you on Friday and Monday, I started to get worried I was going to call out for an Amber Alert. Sorry, man. I was working camp, outsiders camps, Arroyo Grande, beautiful weather, 65, 70 people. It's funny, I work camps now and I'm not the speaker anymore. I'm kind of more of a producer, behind the scenes guy. I was cleaning, doing dishes, cleaning bathrooms. It's fun stuff. God really moved. So just letting you know. Tim Burns, what you just said about Alaric is why I think left tackle in first 2 picks. Got to anchor Stafford or he retires too soon. But that's the roll of the dice, right? If you draft a tackle, is he going to be ready to play? I don't know if that's a guarantee right now. I don't know. I'd like to see the Rams be bold at this point because they are in a Super Bowl window. That's my thinking. Tommy Huxley, Joe, that shirt is not really in season now, my friend. Laugh out loud. It's the only style I got. I got to have comfortable. I got to have my arms free. So thank you, Tommy. Okay. Mr. Powers down in Irvine. If Garoppolo doesn't come back, Seahawks backup quarterback is intriguing. Sam Harrell, right? He was on the Rams radar as a free agent last season, has experience and can run when he needs to. Yeah, I thought he gave the Taxkins a chance a couple of years ago when he was playing. He's got a live arm. He's mobile. Yeah. My thing is, if I'm Garoppolo, where am I going to go? Haven't I had my butt kicked hard enough already? If I stick around with the Rams at some point, McVay or Stafford goes out for a couple games, then I get the keys to a Super Bowl team. So yeah, if you can't sign Garoppolo, but man, if I'm Garoppolo, I think I want to stay in LA. I think I want to stay. Brian, Mr. Powers, your text earlier today about the AFC West being a great division. Yeah, that's a pretty dynamic division there. I got your text there, Mr. Powers. Brian Smith at Tim Burns. Maybe we should defer to chat GM Tommy Huxley on the Alaric situation. Okay. Tommy Huxley, front seven, I'd say front four. Your linebackers aren't good. Well, I'm considering Hoyt. I'm considering Verse. I'm considering Young. I'm considering them as linebackers. Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner. There's about 5 guys there. We used to call those guys defensive ends. Now they're called edge players. That's where my thinking is at, although I am very pro Omar Spates. So that's my line of thinking there, Mr. Smith. Let's see here. Tim Burns, Trump keeps winning, baby. Gonna build LA underground. Okay, all right. Tim, you're killing me. Brian Smith, is anybody worried about Saleh returning to the 49ers as DC? No, I'm not. I honked for Saleh should have been going to Detroit because I think they got better opportunity there. I think they've got better opportunity because of the cap and everything. But they're overpaying. Bosa's showing age. They've already designated Javon Hargrave for release after June 1st. Fred Warner's another year older. There's always an ankle issue there. Hafanga's been hurt. I think he's a good coach. I don't know if he's going to have the chips because they've leveraged themselves so bad salary cap wise. That's how I view it. I could be wrong. Brian Smith, Trump. Okay. Steve Ramirez, Lake has to be the exception to the policy. Speaking of the free agent safety policy, I would hope so, Steve. I would hope so. Ken Kitchens, I don't think is going to develop into Quentin Lake, but I hope Quentin Lake is the exception to that rule if the Rams don't re-sign their safeties. Tommy Huxley, Smith would be. He was your daddy. Okay, you guys are going at it. Tim Burns, it's just a weird KBM thing putting Allen in there. Lamar has better stats in every category, but rush TDs, and he still has 800 yards rushing and 4 TDs. But here's the thing. Josh is playing for the AFC title this Sunday. That's how I see it. Let's see. Oh, Brian Smith, Romy Huxley has great command of the. Oh, gosh, you guys are hammering each other. Brian Smith, Hawaiian shirts are always in season in CA. There you go. Let's see. Brian Smith, Bosa's about the same. You guys take it up on my board here. It's like you guys came to my house. We're having dinner, and you guys are fighting. You're not including me in the fight. Okay, there we go. Let's keep moving here. Joe has clones. Okay, let's keep moving here. Head coaches, Jets hired Aaron Glenn as an HC. Curious to see how that works. Bears hire Ben Johnson. He also hires Dennis Allen as his DC. Curious to see what Dan Campbell's going to do for his coordinators. Patriots hired Mark Vrabel. They bring back Josh McDaniel. I think that's a really good move with Drake May. Jaguars hire Liam Cohen. Cohen was with the Rams, wasn't with them in the Super Bowl season, came back from Kentucky in 2022. That was that chainsaw massacre year along the offensive line. But here was the interesting thing. Cohen was there when Baker Mayfield came in. After 2022, Cohen went back to Kentucky, and then in 2023 wound up in Tampa Bay along with who or 2024? Yeah, 2024. Who ended up in Tampa Bay? Baker Mayfield. So I'm wondering if they developed some sort of relationship there. But I think Cohen can coach, and the Jaguars hired him. They fired their Trent Baalke, their GM, to hire Cohen. So that one is interesting. And the Raiders hired Pete Carroll. That's what I woke up to today. So they brought in Pete Carroll. I like Pete Carroll. I've never been anti-Pete Carroll. My thing about Pete Carroll is I hate to see his legacy take a beating by being the Raiders head coach. And, John Gruden's a Super Bowl winning coach. Pete Carroll's a Super Bowl winning coach, right? So we'll see. I think the advantage is that it seems like Tom Brady's having some influence. Spytek, the new GM, has connections to Brady. And so that brings me to the other point. At what point does Mark Davis become threatened by Tom Brady, right? When does Mark Davis become threatened by Tom Brady? Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer, couldn't happen to a better program. And then the one that's out there still is New Orleans. And I'm not sure who the Saints are going to hire and who really wants that Saints job. Quick other news here. Houston Texans fired offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. Last year, he was the golden boy, talking about being the future. And Indy hires former Cincy DC Lou Anarumo. And that's interesting because Cincy's defense was so bad, but I think everyone knows it's because they're so cheap. And that's why the Cincy defense struggled. So we'll see going from there. All right, a couple more questions coming in. Tim Burns, we could be the congregation of clones, a little more tempered than Rome's peeps. Okay. Does Rome still have clones? Brian Smith, when Salah leaves again for an HC gig after next season, San Francisco gets 2 more picks. That's right, because they label him as a minority, huh? But Mursky, yeah. Maybe someone can hire me. I'm 50% Armenian and 3% Native American and only 47% Northern European. So technically, I'm a Ram pastor of color. So maybe if I sign somewhere, my family can get 2 first-round picks. Tim Burns, that's a good call there, Brian. Tim Burns, Pete Carroll doesn't have the college network he used to have. He will be Pete, good but not elite when there. Yeah, definitely. I think there's just going to be struggles there. I don't know. The Brady influence at some point. I don't know. Brian Smith, it's a question. Joe T. Which one was Salah is a minority. He's Lebanese. I think it's Lebanese. They call him Middle Eastern. San Francisco better not get 2 more picks for Salah. Total BS if they do. I don't know. Everyone's kind of pushing back against the DEI woke stuff. I don't know if the NFL has courage to do anything like that. All right, draft report. I didn't do a mock draft today, but I did do something. I went on the draft platforms, a couple of them, Pro Football Draft Network, PFF, and what I saw was, because everyone knows that Arizona has that receiver, Arizona University, Terrio McMillan. He's the ace receiver in this draft. Everyone loves him. And the projection is the Giants might take him number 3 overall, pair him with Malik Neighbors. And so what I did was I offered on these platforms a whole combination of picks to see if the Rams could jump from 26 to number 3. And the only one that worked was to give the Giants 3 first-round picks to move up to the 3rd spot. So it's not happening. If you get a chance, you could check out midvalleysports.com. Mr. Burns submitted a little draft research on some TCU receivers. We talked about it on Wednesday. You could check it out at midvalleysports.com. Just click on the pro football button. I do Ram notes as well as my column Fan View at Mid Valley Sports. And I'll probably, because I got a whole list of information here that I just like to keep track of mock drafts and players rumored to be of interest to the Rams. Fair warning, I haven't been spot on with the Rams draft pick since projecting USC tight end Dominic Byrd going in the 3rd round of the 2006 draft. I projected that 2 days before in my Fan View column, so that was my big hit, and I haven't had a hit like that since. So just fair warning, but I think I will post that maybe tomorrow or something, just so you can see all the names that are being thrown out there. I think it's healthy to have all that stuff out there so you can see people have been talking about. Braden Fisk needs minor surgery that should not affect him going into 2025. That's good. We talked about all that other stuff. Rams got 46 according to the salary cap. We talked about that. Let's see. This date in Rams history, Rams fired Tommy Prothro and hired Chuck Knox. Great move. Awesome sauce there. Good job. Born on this day 39 years ago, Sean McVay. He's still in his 30s. Unbelievable. Still in his 30s. And then tomorrow is the 52nd anniversary of when the Rams traded Coy Bacon and running back Bob Thomas to the Chargers for John Hadle. And that was the beginning of my Ramdom, because John Hadle, week 4, threw 4 touchdown passes to Harold Jackson in 73, and I became a Ram fan for life. All right, we're coming to the 40-minute mark. Bills at Chiefs. I'm going to go Buffalo this time. I think Buffalo gets KC. Buffalo wins 30-27. Right now, the news is Taylor Rapp, former Ram, is not playing. Taxkins at Philly. I think DC has a shot. I think because Jaden Daniels gives them a shot. But I'm leaning Philly because of the experience and overall talent. And also, Washington's missing a lineman. So I'm going Philly 21-17. I'm keeping it close because of Jaden Daniels. I think we got it.
Was a stone group, my man.
All right, there we go. I think we got most of our stuff in there. I'm supposed to go to dinner with my wife. There we go. Let's see. Let's see. These questions are piling up. Let's see. Goodell. Who's Goodell? Where's underpants? Who is Goodell? Okay. Tim Burns, 209. Cardi nailed it to the pick. Self-glory. You're okay, Mr. Burns. That's good. He was great. Cardi's been great. Brian Smith, it's Goodell. It's not that complicated unless you're a Trump supporter, of course. Brian Smith, thanks, Joe T. Manuel Correa, what's up? Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, let's see how Jalen Hurts does with the knee problem. Hey, man, if Hurts can't run, Hurts is more than mortal. He's not dangerous. He's not dangerous in the pocket at all. And, something to think about there. Tim Burns, Buffalo, 41, KC, 34. Let's see. Brian Smith. Manuel Correa says it's up to Tim. Brian Smith. KC might be in trouble if Rapp is out. Okay, that's funny. Tim Burns, Washington 38, Philly 30. Okay, going with the big one. Brian Smith, KC 24, Buffalo 22. Brian Smith, Washington beats Philly. Hurts is hurt. All right. Okay, I think we got it all in there, guys. I hit the 40-minute mark. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. Sometimes because of family and duty, I'm required to go on early, but that's where we'll be on. Please check us out at midvalleysports.com. And also be sure, from the RamCave, the audio version of this is on Spotify. Brian Smith, thank you for being here. Tommy Huxley, thank you for being here. Tim Burns, all you guys, thank you so much. Negretti, Huerta, all you guys, thank you for being here. God bless. We'll see you soon.